Disclaimer: the information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GANs processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
It's time for change to move into the real work of the universe. And it's time to understand that we use the matter state to reach the level of understanding of the soul of the man. Now you understand maybe why the Creator has sent His messengers in the name of whatever you have had. Is that they bring the ears, that it can be used when the time of the Messiah comes. They can teach the soul and the message, not to oppose, but by them understanding through those who have become messiahs to give from their souls to these to elevate, the job is made easy. The school is there and the students are devotedly there. Then there won't be any fight between what they call the Muslims and the Christians. The lamb and the lion will eat and sleep in the same nest. The Christians and the Muslims will sleep and pray in the mosque and in the same church in the name of their souls, not in the name of religion that is used to create so much conflict for the benefit of those who were the hyperactive children. The time has come, the time of change is here. And as I said, my wish is my command. If it's your wish to see peace, path of peace is laid very clearly. It's the soul of the collective awareness by giving will create that position of change. No other thing. There is no pen in the soul of the man. And I'm sure once you go into the universal community, you will never see anything written but the balance of the fields of the soul of the existence. Try to be humble enough not to become arrogant in the power that you have understood and you possess. Otherwise, you'll fall in the same path of the church and the mosque. This is what we promised. And this is what we have delivered. We have to understand the operation of the soul, and we have to understand the soul of the man is a star in the cosmos of the universe. If we compare the soul of the man and many of us, 7 billion in one collection, Earth is like a galaxy with so many stars. When we look in the depth of the universe, we see galaxies with hundreds of millions of stars in it. So is the planet Earth. It carries 7 billion beautiful stars, which are the soul of the man. Carries with it soul of so many trillions of animals, plants, and everything else. So if you look, when someone who does not see the physicality of the earth and its content, what do they see? They see a galaxy with so many beautiful lights shining, each one according to their strength, each one according to their position. An infant has a beautiful soul, so has the old man. To those who do not see the physical dimension of this planet, but they see the strength of the field, we are clusters of stars. The human race, every single soul, no one from a distance sees that's the soul of a fisherman, that's the soul of the cosmologist, that's the soul of the president. They all shine irrespective of the physicality. This is the magic. This is what the new science has to bring to man. When we look to our soul, we see nothing but a star in the other souls. And this is the break. This is the understanding. This is what all these teachings are about. Coming to mature to the next level, to understand in the deep space, the universe is the oyster for those souls who serve. Then man is ready to go into space. Then man is ready to become part of the universal community which has been promised. I never promised you heaven. I always promised you the elevation of the man to join the family. And now you have the key. It's you who has to open the door to understand, if I can raise the soul of these people or millions of other souls, that the physical life on this planet changes, then I'm worthy to be part of the universal community. To be there to serve, to expand. To be there to be part, that in the cycle of life of universe, I become, in being part, I become part of the totality. When man reaches that point, a new dimension in the strength of the soul of the man will appear, which is beyond imagination of understanding of the physical life. It's the gate to the opening of the new life, in a new dimension, which is beyond imagination of what you might call a new beginning, a new cycle. Which that cycle carries with itself the origin of the creation of life in the universe and the universe. It's the elevation of the soul to serve become the key, not a throne of the physical life. The time is right. The time has come for the man to go through this process.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 334th One Planet, One Nation, One Race for Justice and World Peace here on Tuesday, July 9th, 2024. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Education Department and part of the Public Teachings in English. My name is Rick Cremond, and I'll be your host once again in this weekly series of workshops that are presented by members and support members of the Universal Council. And let's have a look at today's program and get underway. I believe Shweta will be starting here. Please go ahead.
Yes, I thank you, my dear. Thank you so much. And welcome. Suswagatam, dear beautiful souls, to the beautiful energy of Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute, the beauty and totality of Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute, and the beauty and totality of our home, of all souls, universal, loving, caring. And this is what I still become nervous, when I start something because of this, how do I prepare like that? But still, it is the heart and soul always that speaks. And I will say this is uh, this is the way, be healthy, wealthy, and wise. Healthiness, we know how to do it now. Wealth is now, in this moment, in this world now, is the knowledge of the soul, the knowledge universal, the knowledge of the universal creator, the knowledge about ethos of the universal unified field, and of course, be wise. Wisdom is a very beautiful thing, happens always. So I will say that welcome the soul, open the green door, my dear beautiful soul, open your heart, welcome the soul in your abode, walk walk with the soul, walk with your Messiah. So this is the way as we are all walking. So to in peace and love, in beauty and totality, dear beautiful soul. This is the word, key word, the beauty and totality of this home. The home is now like, coming together, uniting to we when we share each other, love and care, that is the home. All around us is the home of Keshe Foundation, the home of the heart. So thank you and welcome again. Salam, namaste, salute. Thank you so much.
Marnas, please.
Marinus, your microphone is not open.
Rick, it's Dean here. I can read this wish for Marinez if that's okay.
Yep, thank you, Dean.
Thank you, Dean.
Okay, so we, the Universal Council and the UC support, give from our souls collectively to feed the physicality and the soul of all humanity.
We are present.
Appears that Mehran is still not responding to the microphone, so someone else will have to read that one.
It's
Dean,
Dean
carry
again.
on.
Do you want me to read it? Sorry, who's speaking?
Please.
Andrea, do you want to read it or shall I?
No, you do it, please.
Okay, thank you.
I see
Okay.
Myrna's just opened her microphone. Maybe since someone read her wish, she can read this wish.
Hello?
Perhaps.
You hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Sorry, problem with my écouteur, with my. So, oh my. How are you, everybody? Because I have to put my glasses. Oh, so small. Okay, hello. So, we, the Universal Council and Universal Council support, give from our souls to the new Iranian president and his administration for welcoming the Keshe Foundation Technology for All.
We are present.
We, the Universal Council, wish that the knowledge seekers learn to be a sphere of light and life and find this new dimension in the world of creation.
We are present.
We, the Universal Council, wish that men learn to think three-dimensional, to think I'm not attached on one string, but I am attached in every point to every string in the universe.
We are present.
Next, we have an excerpt from the video, Learn How to Pray Through the Soul. And this will be the first 4 minutes. And the next show that we have will play the next 4 minutes of this video and so on until we play it through.
And just to add, we can all find this clip in the 23rd Knowledge Seekers workshop. It gives some beautifully detailed instruction in a way of your capabilities and your powers or energies that you can actually use to support yourself or to support others. So listen carefully.
Is there any other question?
Are we still there, or?
I'm pretty much questioned out here. Maybe we should wrap things up soon.
Okay, maybe we can do a teaching on different direction or explanation on different direction today. Let us teach or let us learn how to pray through your soul that you can reach. Let us learn how we can give through our souls that we can elevate other souls to the level that we are in, or without prejudice, allowing their souls to elevate above our soul, without the fear that there'll be anything, we'll be short of anything. Maybe this is what has never been taught by the Prophet of the past, is that giving does not need to be by words and by thoughts, but it has to be by emotion, where it touches the soul and touches the, gives to the receiver what he needs to take from it. Maybe is the way to understand by giving we don't lose anything, and by giving we don't become less poor or poorer. Maybe is a new way of teaching, the way we teach and the way we live in the universe. Detached from physicality, but attached to the emotions that can affect the physicality, because the physical side of any being in the universe is a slave to the emotion. Maybe it's time to start a new way of looking and how to share not only the knowledge but the emotions in the true sense, or allowing access to the soul. This is where you can open your soul to any soul to receive what they need. At the same time you find out you receive what the soul needs to give. So at the same time as you're a teacher, you become a student. At the same time as you're a nourisher, you get nourished. From the higher levels or equal and plus. Maybe I'll go back to the question or something which was raised by Rick about, or question raised about what do we think about Gaza. Let us all give freely to through our soul to the Prime Minister of Israel. That his soul will receive as much as he needs, and through it will affect the work and the direction. Maybe by giving freely to his soul to take what he leaves, we reach the soul of the people who finance these things.
Okay, that's our 4-minute excerpt from that workshop for today, and we'll get the next 4 minutes next week. Andrea? Andrea?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were speaking and nothing
No,
was...
no, no, no.
You're
No,
just waiting.
everything is okay.
Good.
So, Andrea is speaking, a support member from the German community. I want to add some words from myself to this wonderful video from Mr. Keshe. For the newcomers and for everyone else, you can take what you want, what you need. What is the essence to pray or create a wish? It's nearly the same. It has the same power. The fundamental is to understand that your energy follows your attention. These are 4 words, and these words are very, very deep. Your energy follows your attention. And with your ambition to nourish, you can elevate other souls, which means you can elevate the souls of man, of animals, of plants. It doesn't matter. And give freely from your soul. Everybody has this in the RNA. As Mr. Keshe always says, you can be a prophet. So give freely from your soul can also do an animal, a plant. They don't pray, they don't wish, but they give also freely from their soul. It's very important to know when you create a wish or you pray, you do it with a pure positive intention. For example, everybody needs that unconditional love. Choose your words, your thoughts, and your emotions with the ethos of Mitra, which mean think good, speak good, and act good. And don't forget, all your words, your thoughts, and your emotions are attached to your physicality. When the time is right and is provided for the soul, where you pray or send a wish, it will fulfill through the divine source. So you have the power because you are a creator. And when you understand the totality of the words of Mr. Keshe, you change your life. And now I invite you to our soul connection of today. Relax your body. Forget your thoughts. You don't need it. And take a deep breath. We reach us the hand around the planet as we are one. Go with your intention to your soul of your physicality. Feel the love the peace, the joy, compassion, this is all the essence of your soul. That's your source. Feel all these emotions. Feel the energy and the power of your emotions. And now, see your inner light shining. It grows more and more. It shines like the sun. And now, go with your intention to the soul in your brain. Maybe you see a light. It doesn't matter. But what do you feel? Which emotion? And now connect both souls with a golden line. Starts in your brain and goes slowly down over your nose, mouth, down to your heart. Let your light shining in the universe and in the universe. And now come slowly back in this moment. And let your light shine when you create a wish or when you pray for others to nourish and elevate the souls. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Andrea. And if you feel good about this process, you can join us every day collectively at 9 p.m. Central European Time for the elevation of all souls, but especially the souls of the world leaders and the religious leaders. I think this is probably, it's been coming to my awareness that this is probably the most important work we can do at this point in time, collectively and individually. As we heard in the video, by giving will create a position of change, no other thing. So you can become active, you can become interactive to bring the change. And you may say, well, what do I give? It's not something in the matter state that you take out of your pocket and give. It's something in the dimension of fields. And we're not force feeding anyone or any soul. We're making the fields available for them to take when they need, what they need. And you say, what can I give? How about giving the fields of peace? How about sharing the fields of calmness? How about bringing emotional balance? And as we heard, as you nourish, you become nourished. In the last 3,000 years on this planet, we've had 5,000 plus wars. So this cycle continues. Mr. Keshe has made an intervention in allowing humanity to test itself, that we could bring this change again by giving. And as we've heard, you will use this process in the universe once you arrive there, whether you go intentionally by expanding your soul or whether you go when the final bell is called. So this practice of giving and taking, as we heard in that 4-minute clip, is part of our existence in the universe. So we're asking you to take time every day, collectively, or as an individual, to become part of this process. It'll build trust. It'll build confidence in you working with your energies that you may not realize you actually have. And I say collectively, and again, we're trying to think in a three-dimensional spherical plasma ball light. But again, I went back to the two-dimensional. I was thinking of a water wheel. And the water wheel usually has buckets on it. But if you just put one drop in the bucket, the water wheel won't turn. 2 drops in the bucket, the water wheel still won't turn. So we need the collection, or a good percentage of the collection of humanity, to send these fields to get that sphere to turn, to change the position. Again, it's not a force feeding. It's making the fields available. And we're also teaching ourselves about giving and receiving on the field level, which most of us think in the matter state. And if you feel you're short, if you feel you don't have anything to give, try the method of the 3 kings. It was interesting in the testimonial meeting yesterday where Rick brought up we think of the 3 kings and the gifts to the Christ child as thinking good, speaking good, and acting good. And that word good, Rick sort of gave us a bit of instructions yesterday where he went back, and that word good actually came out of the word from God. In other words, think God, speak God, and act God. But we say good now these days. So if you feel you're short and you don't have the energies within you, start applying the method of the 3 wise men or the 3 kings, and thinking good and speaking good and acting good will create a beautiful balance around yourself. And when you come in balance, I think you'll find out that you can freely, easily, unconditionally give, because you're not hooked up with any of the fields of thinking wrong and you get focused on that, or speaking wrong, even though you may feel you're justified, or acting wrong. So by applying the method of the 3 wise men, I think it creates a beautiful shielding and an emotional balancing around you. And once you feel balanced, it'll make it easier to give. And then you can be truly proud of the work you do, and you can be truly proud of the person you are, and you can be truly proud of the difference you make. Again, there's no checklist, there's no formal meeting. It's just joining on the energy level, which again has been sort of foreign to us. We knew we had emotions and intentions and other things, but now we're developing to serve the others. And in serving the others, you serve yourself. And of course, getting to this step of a permanent peaceful planet will allow us to take the next step. It's not the end all. It's the next step in joining and interacting with our larger family, which is the universal community. So feel free to join. You can be multitasking. You can be making dinner or changing the baby's diapers or climbing a tree or whatever you may do. Maybe it's a mountain. But every day at that time, you can put some of your energies into this process. By giving will create this position of change. No other thing. We've tried many different ways, and it's not about punishing. It's about elevating souls. And this is part of our problem. We think people should be punished for what they've done, but maybe they're there in a way to teach us more about ourselves. Again, even the bad is used to create the good. So feel free to join us on a daily basis, and then you can extend it if you'd like. Whenever you get an image of a world leader in your mind, or see them cross the television or computer screen, or you see a headline about them or whatever, give from your soul through the energies. Again, it's not a force feeding. We're just providing the energies that when their soul feels they want to pick up that flower of energy and change the position within the dimension of physicality, that will happen. But as the sun, it doesn't trace every ray that it sends to the earth or through the solar system. So feel free. Your soul is a sun and it's an unlimited giver, and you have plenty of energy to do this. So thank you for listening, and thank you in advance for joining us, because it's through our wish that we're establishing the peace on this planet as a permanent condition of life on this planet. Thank you.
Okay, well said, Mark. Next we have Q&A with the Universal Council with Marie and Claudia. And now we're on part 4 out of 5. This is question 4. Just let me get that set up. Okay, we're ready to begin that now.
Okay, so then we are on the 4th question. We live today on a 3-dimensional planet that presents time and space following the Gregorian calendar, but we know that this limits our spiritual expansion, making us live a routine of work and commitments in exchange for money. How can the human being transmute if he lives on the laws of time created by man?
Então vamos para a 4ª pergunta. Vivemos hoje num planeta tridimensional que apresenta tempo e espaço, seguindo o calendário gregoriano. Mas sabemos que isto nos limita a nossa expansão espiritual, nos fazendo viver uma rotina de trabalho e compromissos em troca de dinheiro. Como o ser humano poderá transmutar se vive sobre as leis do tempo criada pelo homem?
And the first answer, by letting them loose. I don't say through all your build up till now, but see the restrictions physicality gives you. See the life in the soul dimension as and more value to add to your daily physical life. We have to focus on this dimension to make all souls independent from physicality and ready to live in space in peace. Nobody said it would be easy. Together we go through this process of learning, understanding, training, and become beings of unconditional love and light. Let us shine bright as a star. We love you more than words can say.
Então a primeira resposta é: deixando-os livres. Não estou dizendo para acabar com tudo que você construiu até agora, mas para ver as restrições que a fisicalidade lhe impõe. Veja a vida na dimensão da alma, como um valor adicional a ser acrescentado à sua vida física diária. Temos que nos concentrar nessa dimensão para tornar todas as almas independentes da fisicalidade e prontas para viver no espaço em paz. Ninguém disse que a vida seria fácil, mas juntos passamos por esse processo de aprendizado, compreensão, treinamento e nos tornamos seres de amor e luz incondicionais. Vamos brilhar, brilhantes como uma estrela. Nós o amamos mais do que palavras podem dizer.
And there is another answer. If we return to knowledge, we return to remembering that we are equal. Thinking, speaking, and doing good is the only way to raise the energy level of the soul of each being, which in turn means to raise the soul of the planet and everything it contains. With all the facilities that exists on this planet, and at this moment, the universal community that does not allow us to be part of it due to the wrong behavior of beings on Earth. We decided to be part of it and continue to have joy in that emotion that unconditional love gives, and that allows us to live wherever we want with this physicality. We want and feel it, living what we want to live. We are the creators of ourselves. We decide what reality to create, because we are creators and we are individual souls as part of the collective soul. We are part of the soul of the Creator. We are a part of it.
Se voltarmos ao conhecimento, voltaremos a nos lembrar de que somos iguais. Pensar, falar e fazer o bem é a única maneira de elevar o nível de energia da alma de cada ser, o que, por sua vez, significa elevar a alma do planeta e de tudo que ele contém. Com todas as facilidades que existem nesse planeta e neste momento, a comunidade universal não nos permite fazer parte dela devido ao comportamento errôneo dos seres da Terra. Nós decidimos fazer parte dela e continuar a ter alegria nesta emoção que o amor incondicional proporciona e que nos permite viver onde quisermos, com a fisicalidade que quisermos e senti-la vivendo o que quisermos viver. Nós somos os criadores de nós mesmos. Nós que decidimos que realidade criar, porque somos criadores e somos almas individuais, como parte de uma alma coletiva. Somos parte da alma do Criador. Somos parte dela.
And there is another answer. We can transmute because we have been given the power to live in both dimensions. It's our responsibility to acknowledge, to set ourselves free.
Podemos transmutar porque nos foi dado o poder de viver em ambas as dimensões. É nossa responsabilidade acrescentar o conhecimento para nos libertarmos.
And there is another answer. Trust your soul, my dear. The only truth transmutation is not all, is physical as your emotion is going through, in a way to understand very technically as your question is. It is natural and always in action, depends whether your inclination is in how, why, what, and where. In a way, material or soulful, are you creating more baggage, or are you detaching what you don't need, appreciating, taking what you need?
Então confie na sua alma, meu querido ou minha querida. A única verdade, na transmutação, nem tudo é físico, pois a sua emoção está passando por isso, para que você possa entender tecnicamente como é a sua pergunta. Ela é natural e está sempre em ação. Depende se sua inclinação é em como, por quê, o que e onde, de uma forma material. Ou com a alma, você está criando mais bagagem, ou está se desapegando do que não precisa, apreciando o pegar o que precisa.
And there is another answer. The closer you get to your soul, the more you can utilize the abilities of your soul, and the less you need to work in physicality to maintain your physical lifestyle. When you are able to feed yourself through your soul, you will not need to kill to eat. When you are able to heal your physicality, you don't need expensive health insurance or buy medicines or pay for hospital stays. When you are able to transport yourself through your soul, you don't need a car, a plane ticket, or gasoline anymore. Serving the Creator is all we need to do. Your soul will be happy and will open up to you. The shackles of physicality will be gone when we reach the maturity of souls.
Quanto mais próximo você estiver da sua alma, mais poderá utilizar as habilidades da sua alma e menos precisará trabalhar na fisicalidade para manter seu estilo de vida físico. Quando você for capaz de se alimentar por meio da sua alma, não precisará matar para comer. Quando você for capaz de curar sua fisicalidade, você não precisará de um seguro de saúde caro, nem comprar remédios ou pagar por internações hospitalares. Quando você for capaz de se transportar por meio de sua alma, não precisará mais de um carro, de uma passagem de avião ou de gasolina. Servir ao Criador é tudo o que precisamos fazer. Sua alma ficará feliz e se abrirá para você. As algemas da fisicalidade desaparecerão quando atingirmos a maturidade das almas.
So that was the answers from the Universal Council. And I thank everyone who contributed to this manuscript. Thank you.
Então, essas foram as perguntas e respostas com os membros do Conselho Universal, e ela agradece a todos que contribuíram. Thank you, Maria, again. And Universal members of the Universal Council to do this job. Thank you so much.
Okay, next we have an extract from the 545th Knowledge Seekers Workshop. Just let me get that set up. And we'll play that. It's about 7 minutes.
If this is the brain of the man, in a way, and if this is the position of the soul of the man, there is a womb of the soul, I call it, this spherical shape gap, which is created by the interaction between the fields of what we call the brain, or physical matter state, and other physical matter states beyond the physicality, and the fields from inside out. In position and understanding of physical, this is two-dimensional. You have to realize this is, in a way, another field to it. It's three-dimensional. And unfortunately, this thing has a connection to the gravitational magnetic field of the man, and with it, to stabilize itself, he has created a connection to it. We call the spinal cord. And we see the shape. The other half of this sphere, to make a full circle of the brain of the man, has been used for vision and everything else, that this guy gets his fields continuously. This is why when they when you block the breathing, you die so fast, because this thing directly, continuously takes energy to keep position. That doesn't come by suffocation. That the separation comes at the point that no fields reaches to create a balance, to hold on the balance. And as you travel in the three-dimensional, at the time of the death, in a way, this disappears. Now you are in the hand of the fields of the universe. Now you are detached from, and there is no dimensional control. Now you are passengers of the totality in both dimensions and both directions. But in reality, now you're in a bigger structure control of the field. You have changed the prison of the soul of the man in this house, in the physical brain of the man, to be hanging in no dimension of the universe, where the field forces at the time of the separation from the physicality decides where will be your next destination to grow, ready for expansion, to and ready for the next real generations, which you are hung on again, and you did not know even at the time were in the physicality of the man. It's like an onion growing from inside out. You get to the next shell and the next shell, and that bigger shell, which is beyond this shell, is the shell of what we call the creation. And then you will understand, you come back into the circle of where you've been and where you started from. That's how simple it is. The cycle of life, not in the physical dimension of the man, but in the field dimension of the creation of the universe. Field cycle of life on this planet was restricted by the brain of the man, where the cycle of life in the universe has become part of a bigger structure. But here you were just a dot in the physical structure of the body of the man. Here you become part of the universe, which embraces the totality of what is within it. And this is in a way, if you understand what it says, I come from and go back to. Either way is true. You come from the creator in the cycle of physicality, and you go back to become the creator. Created out of creation of myself. And this is what life is in a bigger dimension of the creation. We just keep on changing to the bigger dimension. And in a way, if you look at it, till we have no strings attached. And then we become truly detached from the totality, where in a way we are the beginning and we are the end. Come from and go back to. Then what are we fighting for?
Okay, that was our extract from the last Knowledge Seekers workshop, 545. And now we'll have the reading extract from that workshop. Just get that lined up just a second here. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, yes, yes. Thank you, my dear. Thank you. One, two, okay. Yeah. Thank you. In the past few months and past recent times, I have been pondering on why mankind has a problem to understand the plasma technology. Where is the where is the mindset? Where is the mindset that has brought this about, and how man cannot see the what I call beyond the horizon of his life, of life, of life, and living, life and living, in a way, the highest problem for man, the bigger problem for man, the bigger problem for man. And I said many times, man is now in the space as the four wheelers. As a wheeler nation, we are used to cart wheel. We are used to the wheels of the cars, and we see and have seen and observed it as to be a process of emotion where we gain direction and where we can go in that way. Unless we turn the wheel a little bit to the left or the right, we change direction. And making what I call a circle on the top of the wheel of the circle, what we call our technologies, but in the car, but in the car, but be it the wheel itself, we can't do much difference. And this where the difference between the mankind and the rest of the universal community comes, and changing this four-wheeler thinking from about the wheel to become the what I call the um, universal passenger, or people who understand the work of universe, where it works on a sphere, to change a man to think in a spherical shape, spherical dimension, being able to move on a ball than on the wheel. It is the biggest problem for man to understand this new chapter in the knowledge of the man. How long will it take us to change the understanding of the man from a wheel to a sphere? It will be the time needed for the man to mature. Those who can think as a sphere then can see the path to what I call direction to the universal life. Even those of you who sit or think or see a ball, a light out in the professors of the teaching or the test we do, you always see, most of you see a light in front of you as a shining light, but you never see it, or some of you don't see it as a rotating sphere. You see a wheel rotating on its axis, but you can't see the light. You can't see, you don't see it, and is a rotating sphere. You see a wheel rotating on its axis, but you can't see the light to be rotating on its axis in the spherical shape. Um, spherical shape. We look on how this sphere, this creation of light, this creation of life could be rotating as a ball and emits light. The biggest problem we have, even we look at the sun, which is another what I call soul from Earth, we primarily see it in a flat two-dimensional.
You have to go to the top, Shweta.
Okay, okay.
How long it will take?
Okay. I'm sorry. I was I apologize. How long it will take me and the rest of what I call knowledgeable people to change man from 2 dimension of the one direction of the sphere to 3 dimensional rotation in the what I call life from the rotational direction from the wheel. That is the Hercules job. This is why most of the knowledge seekers and most of you who come in touch with technology, with this technology of the creation, have a problem. You are able to stop a wheel with a brake, with whatever, but you cannot stop a sphere to rotate as a plasma. And if you speak to the man of the universe, understanding this, they laugh of the whole condition, situation, and the dilemma that the man got himself into. We are puzzled when we see rotating firing works in what I call in circle in the Chinese fireworks, how the light flashes and what it does, what it goes. But if we change it, then that it goes in another direction, we are in a big dilemma. Thank you so much.
But in fact, when the sphere is in that spherical shape of that firework, we see the firework coming from one end of the wheel to the other and rotate. Now you have this firework in every direction of the sphere of what I call a plasma, what you see as a light. How long will it take me to get you to see the rays coming from a sphere and not from what I call a wheel, circular shape? That is the time that will take for the man to mature. In a way, if you look at it, man is two-dimensional in thinking, understanding, and structure of the work of its own soul, where he has to become three-dimensional in the spherical shape. We look on how this sphere, this creation of light, this creation of life could be rotating as a ball and emits light. The biggest problem we have, even we look at the sun, which is another, what I call soul from Earth, we primarily see it in a flat two-dimensional. This is why we cannot change our mind. The mindset, the understanding to look at the ball, at the sphere, is three-dimensional. Because of our vision, we see it more or less at two-dimensional. A flat circle, we call it the sun. We don't see the sun as a sphere, as a ball. And if we do, if we can reach that point of working with a sphere of light, of energy, man will change the course of the history of himself and humanity. Changing man from a wheeler life to a sphere life is one of the biggest challenges. Past few days in meetings with eminent scientists and some engineers and the rest, I try to understand if they see the difference. But for them, even been so-called titled, this was something unimaginable. And I see them laughing. In a way, they laugh at their own lack of knowledge, of understanding about their own creation. And this is where most of you, as knowledge seekers, have run into problems when we speak about the plasma, when we speak about the dimension and direction and the structure of the life of the man. Somehow we have to bring this into vision of the man, to feel the life of itself as a sphere structure and not as two-dimensional structure when it comes to his soul. Then you can decide the direction. You decide which strength you want the fields to come to you, or you send the fields out in the dimension of the full structure of 360 degrees, not a flat 180. Then, if you reach that point, then you see interaction of different fields. Then you'll see interaction of different, what we call strength. Then you understand the ray, which is coming from the South Pole, most probably is already connected to another field of the North Pole and is not on the same side as they've drawn it, and we've seen it. And then it's the connected. And then it's connected to another field of strength with another sphere and the rest of it. Thank you.
Other problems which you have as knowledge seekers and is becoming more and more clear over past years is that you have learned to burn fuel, you have learned to do work, to achieve the circulation of this wheel that allows you to move in one track direction. Unless you put it an axis on it and change it, that it can change its direction and still needs another spherical rotation to come back to the same point. But this does not happen when it comes to the sphere shape of your soul, sphere shape of the work of the universe. And this we see especially when it comes to our scientists on the edge of the claim to knowledge, to understand whatever narrow-minded they are. The biggest problem for you knowledge seekers is to understand the straight line rotation according to the direction of the what we call axis of the wheel. Does not apply when it comes to the spherical shape of the soul of the man, the work of the universe and the rest. You cannot jump with a wheel up because when it's in the air, it does not have a what I call direction on the surface that it allows into it to jump forward. You have not made much difference, even when you make a jet engines. You know that the jet engines are still another fast-wheeler rotation, but a combination of passing something through it. The turbine is nothing but a flat wheeler, but with different shape of many together. And if men understand this, then you understand when it comes to the spherical shape, you do not need contraction. You do not need to be connected because as a plasma field, you are hanging all the time in the air. You are hanging in the sphere of the field connection with the others, which they really perk you up. For a wheel to show needs to be connected to a source. You call it an engine, you call it whatever. In the spherical shape of the plasma, you don't need that. You are hung in the middle, and to be hung in the middle, you need to have many fields. That does not allow you to move in any direction, but rotating where you are. If one of the fields becomes slightly weaker, or one becomes slightly stronger, the whole structure has to agree with the movement and the new position and the direction. Then it comes what we call the emotion and intention. In the structure of the matter-state wheel, you need engine and then a wheel to change direction in the motion. In the spherical shape soul of the man is your intention and emotion which drives this system. By taking strength from a field or giving strength to the field from other sources within the strength. If I could get you knowledge seekers and mankind to think in a spherical shape, in understanding it, then all of you can transmute. All of you will see the balance. Thank you.
Where it is the intention and emotion for you to gain direction, to go to come back from. As the old children's song says, the wheel of the bus goes round and round. The wheel of the universe rotates on its axis. It goes around in a circular and spherical shape in all directions and dimensions, and not only in one direction as the wheel goes on the bus. And what mankind needs to understand is the working of the plasma. Understanding, even if he walks on this planet, the soul of the man in the center of his brain is hanging on, is not attached to himself, to the physicality of the man. Then mankind will come to understand the process of life, the way man is in the universe. Attachment comes from by walking this earth. Detachment comes when you are the soul within this body, which has no physical contact with. There is no umbilical cord between the soul of the man and the brain of the man. Then you understand partially your physical brain is containing this field, and partially the fields of the universe are hanging it in there. You're just providing those close protection. The rest of it is still connected to the universe. Then this will bring in new dimensions of understanding. For example, what happens when you go to another dimension, to another position in the universe, and calcium does not exist? The field strength of calcium in this environment does not exist. The field strength of the calcium in the solar system is part of its inherent structure, but not necessarily to the next solar system to us. What happened when you land there and you want to stay in the body of the man? Unfortunately, you'll be a bunch of jelly on the floor. There is no containment of the brain with the skull. There is no there's no bone structure. And what happened when you go to a structure in the universe where the calcium is what we call the iron of this planet? It's the main backbone structure of the fields. We know this. What happened to us? We saw it with COVID-19. Calcification of the energy of the universe in the body of the man. We saw how a body choked up. We saw how everything else became a bone. It's the first time we've seen. We had the technology to observe the movement, the change of the fields, the matter state within the structure of the body of the man. And if you understood, you took the cup 1 or cup 2, whatever, you strengthened the soul. You changed the condition of the fields of the body of the man. And you said, I owe the cup 1, cup 2, save cups, because it's not a cup. It's the energy which you change in the structure of the body, that the level change from the calcification to a normal condition. Again, part of that structure came through what we call the field strength of the soul of the man, working three-dimensional, detached from the physicality of the man. Thank you.
The soul of the man is a spherical shape, lives within your brain, has no physical connection to your body, but hangs in the middle and controls your life. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a direction, rotating leg of the man to go one way or another. And the shape of the skull of the man, the shape of the brain of the man decides how it hangs through the fields, or what we call engagement of the fields of the brain of the man. Then you understand how easily, once this engagement, once the cage magnetic field straight disappears, these things now hang to what it was connected beyond to the magnetic field of the universe. And at the point, this, what I call spider web of the fields of the universe, will spring it to where I will find the balance, and where the soul of the man will manifest itself as a seed of another life, as a star connection, and and a star. In a way, the soul of the man, being a spherical shape, doesn't work the real shape. Is hung in the center of the brain of the man by magnetic field pressures, which nowadays you call it whatever tokamak, and the rest you see in how it could look, but it has two different sets of attachments of the fields to its structure. Near interaction fields, which is created by the brain, and the blood flow magnetic field, which holds in this position. And when this weakness at the point of what we call transmutation, if you decide, or at the point of death, which is the separation comes, there is no more containment. The cage breaks, the bird is free, the other strings which we connected to it in the higher field of strength, holding it and connecting it to this, what you call the rest of the universe. Then they decide on which way and where this ball, this soul, this spherical shape of energy will land and become its new home. Question. Is the actual inclusion of the soul of the man as a state of its own that gives the man this freedom harder than just losing all its power to the soul where its fate is dictated? It's a little bit of both, and none of it. It's in a way you want to be a driver or you want to be the driver. Thank you.
When you are a soul within the physicality of the man, you are driven, and you have to follow. You can't jump out of the position of your, what I call, cage. When you drive, you decide where that physicality goes to. And man has that freedom now through technological development, understanding of the what we call physical matter. If you go back into the history of the man, maybe some of those who were messengers of their own village, or they were enlightened of their own town, their own cities. They could only pass the message as long as their voice could go, as long as they could walk to see others, to teach, to share knowledge. Now, with the present communication system, we can reach everyone on every point. And this makes it easier to enlighten more people. And this is why when I teach, I say, we teach in the voice of the man, for the whole universe to be taught. As we teach at the level of the soul of the Creator, not the physicality of the voice of the man. And this is what we call the whole universe enlightens. It's not just privileging a few we call humans into the detriment of the others as, for their right, they think they are very special. But when we teach, it's like you are in the classroom and your classmates who are sick sits on the what I call Zoom line in their bed or his bed and watches the teaching. Does not need to be present in the classroom. The classroom of today is the planet Earth, and the rest of the citizens of the universe are those who are at home, elevating the knowledge of the soul through the love of the Creator, the voice of the teacher, through the soul of the man, through the soul of the creation. Then, if you understand this, we now have the freedom to be in a classroom or to go for a week vacation or what we call choose. I'll still be connected. I'll still learn the knowledge, but I'll do it from another part of the world. Then sitting in the classroom. And that's all. The only difference is man has always had the freedom. Those who enlightened according to their time and place, they enlightened their village, their tribe, the city, and whatever. Now the teaching is universal. And this is one of the reasons we created Universal Council. Man will understand what I call the gift to humanity by setting up the structure of Universal Council and its members. You have not even understood the work of it. And this is part of when you say you have a teacher and too many students. Other students help to teach those who are not ready, and that's the job of the Universal Council. And this is part of the structure of the elevation of the soul of the universe, and not the man only. Thank you. That was an extract from the 545 Knowledge Seeker workshop.
Okay, next we have an excerpt from the 544th Knowledge Seekers Workshop from June 27th. And just give me a second here, I'll get that lined up. This is called Feel the Emotion of the Light. This is part 2.
And
I would have a further question on this topic.
Yep. Because there's 2 of you, you can ask 2 questions.
Excellent, excellent. There's always a loophole. So these masters, they came to understand the knowledge of creation. That's why they were able to, to transmute and attain the light body. But you weren't there teaching them. They got this knowledge in a deep meditation, which means hang on. Let me finish. Let me finish the question. I know. I'm glad you're excited too.
No, I'm not excited. I have to answer you, but let's see.
Well, let me do the question, and then I'm really curious for the answer. Otherwise, we have half question gives probably half answer, right? Same as your doctrine. Yeah. So these masters, they were able to get this information. It seems like directly from the soul or from creation, because you're not there teaching. They're just in a cave meditating, and they still got the knowledge. But in a way, you're now teaching this knowledge. I'm in a physicality. You're in a physical body, and I'm hearing with my physical ears. So in a way, it's almost like you're teaching it you're bringing it to more people, right? Not everybody's a yogi who's going to sit and meditate for 20 years, but it's interesting that they were able to attain this knowledge directly. It's almost as if in a way you're teaching it like you want everyone to learn it through the soul, but initially it's like we have to learn through the physicality. We have to listen to a man speak and understand until we get to that point where we can actually listen directly like the yogis did in those caves, because that's the ultimate way, right from source, right through the soul, So it's really fascinating for me that that they were able to
Let
achieve
me,
that without a teacher who
no,
knows exactly how to do it. They're just in a cave and they figured it out.
no,
Miracle.
no. First of all, I explained to you something, but I'll tell you something in ahead of how we work and how they work. Past few days, I was one of the, what do you call it, eminent scientists of a nation. And we went through, and I was showing him, it was just exchange of knowledge, nothing else. I was showing him the systems which you never seen in Keshe Foundation. We don't bring it in public, but unless elite scientists, world scientists come, because that's where we are heading with, we put these things on the table. And a couple of other, what do you call it, another knowledge seeker was with me when this process was happening. And he said his field was what was on the table, because especially I set up that part of the Keshe Foundation technology to be, because what he came, or what was the reason he was there to discuss. And he said, we know people transferring energy, whatever, and they've done this and that. But, and this has been my dream, he said, but you have managed to create systems which does show and works through the system to do what others we thought they knew, because we knew people can do this. But it's a system. I said to him, now is a technology. When is the myth? When is the somebody could do, or one person can do, and others can't repeat it? We call it intent. But in fact, is in reality understanding the process of creation. And it's become a technology because you understand it, you can replicate it. We are, it says Keshe Technology. KesheTechnology.com. We deliver knowledge of creation as a technology that everybody can do. And regarding your guy in the cave, it's very simple. Most of these people went through, taught themselves by accident or by illness. Majority of them, if you speak or you know about the history of their life, they gone through a point of, maybe through illness, a point of death that the soul expanded, and they learned about it. They remembered it. And they repeated it. It's not any different than when I tell you, when you die, the magnetic field of the physicality lowers down, the field strength changes, so the soul can expand. And you leave the body, because the field cannot hold. And it's the same with all these people you call masters. They're not the only one. You find many, many, many children get to that point. And if I tell you how, you might be one of them yourselves. Children in a young age, up to about 4, 5, between 2 and 5, in that bracket, if they get sick with a high temperature, we're talking about 40, 41 degrees, where the body goes through a collapse, high temperature, and what we call, people say they hallucinate. It comes to the point that the body temperature goes up, which interacts with the field of solar physicality, with the rest of it, and in balancing each other allows the soul to expand. And children, while they're in the arm of the mother, they ask for their mom. And the mother says, I'm here. They can't hear. Says, I want mom. You hear them. But they say, mother holding the child, says, Mom is here. I've seen this a few times, but scientifically can understand it. And in that point, if the child learns to expansion of the soul, then it brings more closeness to the mother. When you bring temperature, that child become abuser. Then we see the behavior of ADHD on them. If you've been with me, if they bring a child and say he's ADHD, I ask one question. Has he ever had a high temperature in such a position? Because he's felt he's in control. Now I dictate. I can't see, so the mother says, I'm here, I'm here. What do you want? I'll do anything for you to see me, to get my love. We see the same thing with people who go through that point, and then, but if you remember, they do, then we see them, they can transmute. They don't need to go very high. They had a scenario in their life which they came across this point. It usually comes at the point of death, or it comes at the point of high temperature. But they learn they can do, because they saw themselves somewhere else, they could see the being released from the pain of physicality, and then they come back to it and it's there. So they learn how to do it because they've been there. And you don't need to. But now we made a technology out of it that everybody can do. You don't need to go through the death point, you don't need to go through a pain, you don't need to go through high temperature. And this comes from the magnetic field of the body of the man reducing and understanding how it works. Hiding in the caves and the rest is all magician job to get what you call attention.
Okay, that was our extract from the 544th Knowledge Seekers Workshop.
Thank you, Rick. Enlightening informations we're receiving there. It's Dean here, representing the English language support member. So we're now talking about the 2024 Transmutation test. And it says, book your virtual seat for your soul. And you can see there's 2-hour sessions with small groups organized by the geographical positioning of participants. And according to the number of participants, it can be done in 1 Friday per month or extended to 2 Fridays per month. And participants, as you can read, will be informed by email of their time allocation. Please make sure to mention in the comment section of the order the time zone you will be participating from. And as you can see, this is every 3rd Friday of the month from July 2024 to October 2024, and it's 2-hour sessions. The price is €600 per session plus VAT, or you can have a 4-session bundle for €2,000 plus VAT. And for me, this for many of us listening, some of us listening will not have those funds to be able to achieve this. So you will be able to use your intentions, your soul, your positioning to participate in the moment, in the place and time that you're in. For you, the dear beautiful souls that are putting themselves forward and going through these transmutation tests, so they are enlightening themselves and others, transmuting their thoughts and intentions, and creating this environment for each and every soul on planet Earth to be able to experience this as and when they are ready and able to achieve this. Going back to some information earlier, there was some very beautiful knowledge that was shared where it became apparent that the soul of the man has no physical connection to the physicality of man. So we're in a space gap. So when we contact our soul, when we stand in that position, and that's a strange thing to say, but when we put ourselves in that position in the soul, we have no physical dimension. We become detached from the physical body in that moment, in that position, and then we're in contact with the soul, the creation, the creator, ourself, and the souls that are present. So you touch the essence of life. And as Mr. Keshe was explaining just now, you can, but you don't need to go into a cave to do this. You have the capability to do this in this moment. You can connect, you can put yourself in this position of the soul, and all the wonderful knowledge that's been shared today, especially learning how to pray. So if you understand, or if you have listened to some of these wonderful teachings that have transpired and been transmuted to you in this moment, each and every one of us has the possibility to be present in a soul position. You already are, but you're now being given a very big gift of knowledge, universal knowledge, to be able to touch your soul, the creator's soul, and the souls of whoever you view, wherever you put your attention. So as it was said, spoken earlier, the energy flows where the intention is put. So if you focus your intention to maybe, let's say, a world leader's partner who maybe needs some beautiful, loving care, may need some elevation, so that they can then share that elevation with the world leader. And then if we take this away from this position and we bring it right the way back to us, the beautiful beings and souls that are present in each and every moment, now we can focus our attention to our immediate family, to a person, a time, place, and position, a animal, a vertical friend, the plants. We can give them our love and attention. And because we have no physical contact, there is no time. So you can go to a position that you need to heal, that you need to give love and attention and care to bring about this condition of unconditional love that the Universal Council brings, and the sharing the knowledge in these moments, and the knowledge of the science of man, where science meets the soul of man. So Mr. Keshe has brought this forward in the 2024 Transmutation test, and you can book your virtual seat, be part of it. When you share your intention, your thoughts, your creation, your energy that you've received, and you share it in whichever way you can, you are given to humanity. You are given to the soul that then reaches across to many, 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 many other souls. And you will receive the energy from those souls, the enlightenment that feeds back to you. This is a huge gift. Treat the knowledge with the pure essence and beauty that's within you. Receive the gift, share it, and be part of this wonderful, larger community that we've always been part of. And now we have a deeper understanding of the beauty of these souls that are present with us, sharing their soul intention with us. Thank you very much. Thank you, Rick.
And if I could add, it was mentioned in the transcript of the 545th workshop, I believe, that Mr. Keshe says we're going to do a session on Thursday. And maybe I can read just a little bit here where you can join one of these sessions. In a way, you don't have to pay. In the next few weeks, as we develop new systems and new technologies, we'll put another week or a Thursday session where all the knowledge seekers can participate. But this time, the job is not to participate, to be. It's for us to elevate the soul of all of you in that process, to create a new cycle, a new generation of life. And I'm looking forward for that as we come to that phase of what we call completion of the work. I'll explain the reason why we do this in the coming time. But one of these days, very soon, will be another open teaching, open work of connecting the knowledge seekers. The last time we had 300 odd people. And this time we'll touch your soul. We'll bring your soul to be involved in the dimension of the connection with the system, that we start the next cycle of what we call teachings worldwide. And I hope those of you who join us in that session, you'll enjoy it, because it'll be an experience you'll never forget. And it's as part of what we call, what we used to do, the blueprint. We'll do the blueprint of the travel of the soul of the man. And I'm sure many of you will enjoy that trip. You don't need to sign up for it. You don't need to register for it. When our systems are ready, we'll bring you into play with it and understand about your soul. So there's an offer. I don't know if it'll be mentioned in advance or you'll have to be in one of those workshops. I think Rick recalls that quite well the last time this happened. And so I would suggest to have your headphones ready, have your cell phones fully charged, and again, join the workshops on Thursday, usually at 9 a.m. Central European time. Whether it'll be announced in advance or whether it'll be just Mr. Keshe will say, I'd like to run a test or to go through this process. That may be, so you'll have to probably be there in the dimension of the meeting to fully participate in this process. But you can sort of sample or audit what is going on in these transmutation tests. And Mr. Keshe feels you'll all enjoy the process. Thank you.
Yes, I would like to add a few things to what Mark just said about these kind of Thursday sessions that we have encountered in the past as well. And bringing back what was mentioned about the inability to pay for the sessions on Friday. There was so we heard that we could do it directly with our soul. Now, regarding that, how do we do it? So I will add a little bit in this area because I have been doing it. So what we have to get familiar with, let's say in the public session, is how the feeling or the emotion associated with connecting with the system. So once we have this familiarity that this is how we feel, and this is unique to each individual, we position ourselves differently. We have our reactor in whatever tilt we like to keep it, or our soul. The reactor means our soul, in whatever position we want to keep it. And so the interaction with the enhancement unit is unique to each of us. And this is the beauty of our individuality. And we have to participate in this meeting in a way to allow our soul to register not only register, but remember that this is how it feels to be with the enhancement unit. And then you go through the participation that will be indicated in the meeting. But this is an important part. Knowing how it feels and remembering, and then in future you can reproduce it. Once you reproduce these feelings, essentially what you're doing is you are doing the wireless connection with the system. And it's not that difficult. If you go into these meetings with the feeling that I can do it, and you may get surprised. So this is a fun thing to do, and not just fun, you can even participate beyond this Friday session. These machines are running all the time. So these enhancement units are running all the time. So if you want to, let's say, test certain things with an enhancement unit test a certain thing by connecting with the enhancement unit. You don't have to do it all the time, but whenever you feel like doing it, you can do it. Let's say you have to heal something or whatever the need might be. But you can connect with the system and reach whatever point you want to reach with the assistance of the enhancement unit. And another interesting thing about it is that once you know that you can achieve something with the assistance of the enhancement unit, you can try without the assistance of the enhancement unit and see whether the result comes through. So there are a lot of interesting things that can be done, but once we know how to play with the fields or feel the fields and engage with the fields, by remembering our experience and reproducing experience in different ways, we can even engage with another soul in addition to the enhancement unit in the same way. So this is not just limited to the enhancement unit, but even a friend sitting somewhere far away. So these are all practical things one can engage in. And so this kind of meetings, the Thursday meeting that Mark is referring to, can be a starting point for a whole new level of experience and participation. Thank you. Okay, I'm back again. So let's delve into some of the other interesting facets of transmutation. So some of these can come from my own experience and in implementing what has been talked about in various meetings. So, as you know, those who are trying to transmute, and some of us are able to engage our soul and travel or interact with other entities remotely, and it's not that difficult, but we need a little bit of practice and confidence. Yes. So, and this requires, of course, a little bit of familiarity with how the soul expresses its emotion, soul of man specifically. Not here. I will differentiate the two things: soul of man and soul of physicality. The emotions that we get from these two different souls are different, and it requires a bit of practice because to begin with we never quite knew that the soul of man is there to start with, and then we can also feel its presence and its operation. Hello? Is somebody speaking? Okay, anyway.
Just you.
I'm
Okay,
not sure
all
what
right,
that
yeah.
was. Go ahead.
Yeah, there was something in the background. But in any case, so now, and this is where some interesting observation that I have made, and some of the people may have done the same thing, or they can chime in if they have other types of experience. One of the things that I notice, and this I've also brought up in the plasma reactor group, because I consider that to be a practical, more practical sort of meeting. And there I talked about this particular issue, is that when, I know I can go from one place to another with engaging the soul of man. But bringing the soul of physicality is where things start to become different. In the sense that, I have talked about this before, is that soul of physicality try to take on a position that I know that you can't do it. So here there is a bit of gap between the two sides. One knows how to do it, one doesn't. And the one that does not know how to do it is saying that it can't be done. So this is a funny situation, soul of man, soul of physicality are both part of me. And I'm saying, oh, okay, this is kind of a bit silly, isn't it? It's I'm the same person, and yet I am not in what you call it harmony. The two souls are not in harmony. So, so one of the things that I have, this tension is still there, but it has diminished considerably. And one of very well is humor. You have to laugh at yourself, and this is, there is an interesting thing about it, is that laughing at oneself is both a sign of confidence and humility at the same time. It's a very fascinating kind of operation. In humor, we have this aspect. We have the two types of feeling creating a spark, so to speak. And that's why the laughter comes. Like let's say, can we compare it with, when we have lightning in the sky, a flash of lightning, so to speak. And it can, lighten the situation and makes, we can, at least for me, I can observe myself to be relaxing more. And at the same time, I can say, well, I can engage patients and other things, whatever the tools I can think of in bringing this harmony. But it's a very powerful mechanism, this humor, and it one doesn't have to try hard, and clenching, as we know, clenching fist does not do us any good when it comes to matter of fields. So this is in my opinion, a very powerful tool, and it has been used in the past in teaching situation, humor. And we even see Mr. Keshe using humor often. And but doing it to oneself is doubly funnier, in my opinion. I don't know how else to say it. So you are both the joke and the observer of the joke. It's that kind of a situation. Try and see how it works. And so this is really very powerful. And the other aspect of it, and this also, it's kind of like it's also a shifting of position. It's a shifting of position means it's just a shifting of orientation. We have as if the soul of physicality, and so now that we are starting to think in terms of 3D, the orientation of the fields of the soul of physicality is not the same way it has to be with the soul of man. So this is a tool. Humor is a tool to essentially reorient the soul of physicality. And in that process, we also can transmit from soul of man energy to the soul of physicality so that it can change its orientation and the energy level both, which, as we know, is that it's also related to the orientation of the axis. So this is one way to operate. Others can come up with other ways, but this has been useful for me. So let's move to another aspect of it, is the interaction with, Mr. Keshe talked about interaction with sun and seeing the sun to be a disk rather than a sphere. So this is an interesting way of doing things. When we engage our soul to travel, we often go with the assumption of a 2D traveling because we are used to, moving on the surface of the earth, generally speaking. And even in an airplane, we are going from some place to another. The vertical movement is not really that much of a part of our traveling experience. So when we use our soul to travel in, let's say, three-dimensional space, and it's an interesting thing to think in terms of moving not in 2D, because we tend to move in 2D and look in two-dimensional. Like on the road, we have to go right and left. We don't think about looking up and looking down. And so this is what I have observed to be an interesting thing. When I did the soul travel, I also tried to remember that I'm not doing a 2D traveling. I'm doing a 3D traveling. And interestingly, soul have observational capacity of like 360 degree. It's not like we are looking in front of us or even tilting our head. It does know all directions. It's a very interesting thing, and to get used to it, at first I wasn't doing it very well, but I have done it in the past, so I have some experience. So, and you will observe certain interaction often from the other directions, which is not observed in our customary way of traveling and looking at things. And actually, one time I was doing it, and I looked at like a soul. I was interacting with a soul of a large celestial body, and I know that it was emitting its own light. But in addition to the emission, there was a reflected light. And at first I said, how is it doing the reflection? The first time I did not get it at all. And then I realized that it's from somewhere up there towards my back. So it was coming from somewhere there, and it was reflecting back to me. So it was an interesting thing. Then I said, okay, so that reflection itself, it's a 3D reflection, told me that I can move in 3D. So, and then I said, yeah, I can go the other side of this entity and look back towards, I mean, soul level, I don't have to look back. I just felt that there was another source coming from up and behind me. And so it's a very fascinating experience to, think and look in 3D, not just like we do on our planetary surface travel. So this is an interesting thing that, and it's so in a sense it's a very spherical object, and it was reflecting a different light from a different part of its structure. So it has its own light coming out of, but then it had an additional light, which was a reflection from a certain point. So anyway, and then, so once as we know that there is light from these entities we call soul as we interact with. But then Mr. Keshe also mentioned about, this interaction is not limited to light. As we move closer to a soul, there are other kinds of interaction that happens. So there is some fields going to it, and there is some field coming out of it. And it depends what we transmit, what reflects back from them, and what they transmit and that we reflect back. So if you have observed in my language right now, it sounds like there are two mirrors reflecting each other, certain lights. So when we interact with another entity, be it a big something big, soul of another entity, sun or something big, or another person or a little creature here on the planet, these are mirrors. These are mirrors in the sense that we are a mirror to them and they are a mirror to us. We can learn from them. We can ask things, and they may reflect back at us things. Similarly, they can ask us, and we can feel what we reflect. I mean, these are all things that we can do. We don't have to go to space. We can even sit in a room with somebody sitting there and interact with their soul. They may feel certain things and may even feel uneasy. I have tested it, as you can tell. But they will definitely respond to being a mirror, and also me being a mirror to them. And it's a very constructive and positive interaction. We are not there to take over. We are there to participate in a constructive, in a creative effort by being mirror to each other. It's a very fascinating experience. Another thing that can be tried. But again, once again, these are all my experience and my testing with the fields and interaction of souls. So see what you can get out of it. But I'm just talking about these things because it's fun to do, and maybe you can have fun as well, and there might be something funny and like a joke in there as well, just like it happens between our soul of man and soul of physicality. So I hope people benefited from what I am talking about, and let us know if you do. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, my dear Moshfik. Beautifully you said, we are mirror of each other, indeed. And it is, then it encourages us to do what we should do to transmute, transform, and take what we need, kind of that. And I welcome any beautiful soul wants to ask Moshfik any question or ask to share what their experiences about the journey of transmutation or experience. Welcome, welcome.
Hi, Shweta. Hi, Mosfek. Hi, it's Dean here. As no one else is coming forward, Mosfek, we have interacted a few times. How would you, thank you for that beautiful teaching, by the way, Mosfek. Lots of wonderful knowledge as usual. And I'm sure many knowledge seekers will gain some very valuable transmutation positioning through your words and your knowledge. When it comes to creating a plasma to interact with MOSFEC, how would you go about that?
Creating a plasma. The intent, it's the intent, you know, it's at the soul level. It's not a physical thing. It's your intent creates a sort of you know, it's kind of you're creating a light essentially. You are sending a cylindrical plasma. You are by our intention, we are just spinning the fields and directing it towards the other soul, and they receive it, and it carries an energy and an information to them, and then they respond to it. This is how I see it to be. It's a information and energy transfer, both at the same time.
And MOSFEC, do you have to, when you're sending that information, do you have to be the smaller or the bigger plasma?
I don't even consider that. My intention is it is for them to receive, and it is their choice to respond in whatever manner they feel appropriate. And then when the feedback comes to me, then I say, okay, they have responded. They may not. And sometimes I may not even I may not be able to listen to what they're saying. It has happened. But this is one thing I have tested, actually. I have talked about this before with my food, actually. I mean, like a fruit. And I just transferred the energy, and I've tested it to see whether I really felt like I'm satisfied. So sometimes, you know, I feel like, you know, I want to eat this, you know, that bad habit is all with all of us. So I want to eat this. So, okay. So I said, okay, yes, I want to eat this certain food. So I go in front of the food and said, okay, can I transfer energy from you in such a way that I give to you what you love to have, and you give to me what I would love to have from you. And I mean, my interest in having that particular fruit has gone away. So it's very easy to experiment these things. The thing is that one has to be precise in one's intention, but the interesting thing is that once I did it with a fruit, and then when I have eaten such a fruit later on after this experiment, it's a very uneasy feeling. I can tell you that, because I can do it, because I'm with other people, everybody is eating, I have to eat. but it is an uneasy feeling when I know that I can do it in another way. So it has its implication anyway.
It's that interaction, Mosfet. Thank you, Mosfet. It's that interaction of the emotion of when you're present with people, that social aspect of eating. We all come to know it's been present with us for a very long time. You mentioned that the way that you interact with, say, the laughter or the joy, the happiness of sending a message, an energy flow to another soul. So how does that interaction, how does the soul receive the love and care, the joy or the happiness that you're sending to them? How do you know they've received it? How would you do you feel it within your physical structure? Do you know it? Or is it something that shows itself as a manifestation in the environment around you?
It can be any of them. I have been successful in making physical change on my body, so I know that it works. And sometimes it doesn't. That's also true. And then, when let's say I want something to change, but it didn't happen, that itself is a message, is that, well, something I did, the transmission of the energy wasn't precise enough. So it's not a bad thing, actually. Well, that's all. The silly me, I was in a hurry, or whatever else there is, we can think of it in many different ways. But so once, since I didn't have the precision in terms of the energy level or the directionality or whatever else there is, then I said, okay, I have to be more careful and observant in doing the transfer. So it's just part of learning experience. And the more cheerfully we go about learning it and not saying, oh, I can't, I won't be able to do it. That has been the lesson from childhood for all of us, I'm sure. But instead, yes, I wasn't successful. Yes, that's correct. But how can I be more precise to carry this out? So it's just, and that's where I think that's when we can use humor, whether it's another soul, not the soul of physicality and soul of man, which I'm doing the most of my experiments with, but also with other entities as well. And, we are not all familiar with this kind of thing, so it requires a bit of practice. And sometimes, we'll be able to do it, sometimes not. So we have to kind of accept that, in the sense that, we are not well versed in it, and, but we can become well versed in it once we accept that we can get there.
Yeah, Mosfet, that acceptance is a big thing. It's we are, as Mr. Keshe would say, we're full of we're intelligent gas. So we are a gaseous substance in the environment of planet Earth, and we have intelligence with it. And when you take away the intelligence, you're left with the gas. And so when you start to interact with the soul aspect and you realize the various different states of matter, then you can start to understand a little bit of what you're saying about being able to communicate with many other beings when you are present. And you're going to find that you may interact with a being that is not in a physical form, in the matter state of a physical human body. There are countless other hundreds of billions and trillions of other souls that are present in very many different attributes of creation. And you may tap into something that is totally different to what you've come to know. Depends upon your field strength, your intention, and your focus of what you're trying to achieve. And we always, as humanity, we always do, we limit ourselves to a certain aspect of what we've come to experience. However, when we start to open ourselves up like a sphere, like a soul, and we start to radiate around the physicality, we start to understand that there's a much bigger picture that we can connect to. And some of the wonderful teachings you've just given us helps us to establish that connection, that wonderful, that beauty that is the knowledge that Mr. Keshe has brought forward. It's ancient knowledge and it's present with us in these very moments. And thank you, Mosfeq, for sharing that wonderful knowledge. Thank you, Mosfeq.
So one other thing that you just mentioned that, you can, which triggered another thought in me is that we often we think that we can do this to this soul, let's say we did do it. And for example, I was doing it with my soul of man and soul of physicality or another person. But we also have to, once we start thinking 3D, we can also think, we can step beyond this kind of limited interaction. We don't, just because we are able to do few experiments at this level doesn't mean we can do more. For example, we can, let's say we can send it we can create an interaction and nobody can say that we can't, because we can. We can interact, for example, with the planet Earth. And this affects everyone living on this planet Earth or around it. So can we make a change on planet Earth? Ask the planet Earth to do this and that? Why not? Can we do it to the solar system? Again, the same thing. So if we want peace or other things, that prosperity and other things that we want, we can send it to the planet Earth, and it has 3D effects on everything that is on the planet or around planet Earth and solar system as well. So, and if my intent is good and if I'm doing it for the benefit of creating an environment which is for the benefit of all the souls, as a creator, why can't I engage in such an activity? Who said no? Nobody says no. This is where the power comes. And also with it comes the humility. So it's not that we can't, but we can do it silently in our own home or wherever. But you can also see if there is something done destructively, how it can bounce back, to put it mildly. So this is the power Mr. Keshe talks about, and the humility that one has to carry to exercise that power. And it's beautiful, but can be scary if used improperly.
I think you've opened it up for many people now, Mosfeq. I think many people listening will start to use their soul and start to communicate and open up the bigger picture. And as you said, with this comes a responsibility, that humbleness, that beauty of being correct, the ethos. And plasma will never hurt, it will never take away. But if you have the wrong intention and you send that wrong intention, as you said, then expect it to come back to you. So you have to be, as you've said, and we've all said many times, you have to be this humility, this humbleness, this beauty with the knowledge and with whatever aspect that you have. But what I love about this, and which is the real beauty, is that it doesn't matter if you have got 1 billion cars or you are a president or a king or a queen. That has no relevance. The most humblest man, woman, child, flower, whatever beautiful soul is present and in that moment is creating as more powerfully than anybody with all the money in the world. And that is the beauty of this, is that it touches creation, and you understand that there is no wealth. As Mr. Keshe would say, the wealth is within me. And that, thank you, Mosfeq, is the beauty of this knowledge. I think we better leave it there, Mosfeq, as we can go on for a long time. Thank you, Mosfeq. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you, Mosfeq, my dear. And yes, it will go on. It is eternal, of course. Thank you, my dear Dee. Thank you so much. Now we can move to the next presentation. Here, we bring the needs and wishes from your community to the Universal Council as one planet, one nation, one race for justice and world peace. Welcome, Dean, my dear.
Thank you, Sweta. So I sense that much knowledge is being shared in these moments. And I know the knowledge seekers are aware of this and have been present with this knowledge for quite some time. New people that may be listening and other souls that are coming through to this knowledge, you're receiving very powerful connections. And that connection is with yourself, with the Creator, with everything that's possible, and it's unlimited. And the knowledge is present in this very position, this time, place, right now. And you've received the knowledge of the universal soul. You've received this. Bring the needs and wishes from your community. So knowing now, the knowledge you carry, the beauty and the responsibility to yourself and to the others, to share it with humble beauty and to receive back the creation from the Creator, the beauty of this. It will bring you to tears when you touch the creation. And for many, Mr. Keshe said, and I think some of the guys that have transmuted or are starting to have realized this, and they've been in the systems, that they touch creation. For many, it's very difficult to come back into the physical form with all the suffering that goes with it. So you can spend your lifetime, this moment, this second, this eternity, in whichever position you choose. But if you bring a need and wish for another and you give from your soul to feed the other souls, you'll receive back that feedback loop to you. So you receive back. And the more you give and the more souls you touch, the more you receive back. Isn't that a joyous, wonderful thing to do? And it's not something that you need to physically do, even though that really helps too. But you can bring a need and a wish for another person, another being, another soul across the other side of the galaxy, across the other side of the planet. And you can give them the energy that they need. So one planet, one nation, one race. We are all part of the same totality, the same structure in this precise moment. And as Mr. Keshe would beautifully say, what is the man fighting for? So bring your needs and wishes from your community to the Universal Council. One planet, one nation, one race for justice and world peace. And that peace starts within us in this moment. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sweta.
Welcome, welcome. Welcome to Swagatan, dear beautiful souls. Share your experience. Ask any question you want. We are all knowledge seekers. We are learning the beauty and totality. Welcome. My dear Rick, any question or any sharing?
I don't see anything offhand here. Just trying to check our chats. I don't see anything in particular. Guess we've covered
So,
all the needs and
silence of
wishes
love.
already.
We are all the silence of love. I'm saying. So, thank you, beautiful soul. We are more understanding the level of love. That is. Thank you always for being here. Thank you, my dear. Now we can go to the next presentation. We have to skip this. Then we are here to serve, not to be served, my dear beautiful soul, the Universal Council. Welcome, 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 Suspagatam into the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful energy of Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute organization. Welcome to the beautiful energy of all beautiful souls, all universal souls. We are. Welcome to the beauty that is. Welcome to the love that is. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And I will say again, following, in a way, following, but I will say follow, fell in love, hug, Keshe Foundation. And we all love Keshe Foundation organization. Thank you. Thank you so much. And this is Shweta Anwar, UC Hindi language. And again, I will say all the love always. Thank you for being here always with the responsibility of all that is in existence. So, salam, namaste, salam.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Sweta. And thanks to all the members of the Universal Council and the support members for the Universal Council for presenting today's workshop, which has been the 334th One Planet, One Nation, One Race for Justice and World Peace here on Tuesday, July 9th, 2024. And thank you, everybody, for attending today's workshop. Our next public teaching workshop will be the Keshe Plasma Reactor Group, and that starts Wednesday at 7 a.m. Central European Time. And we usually go for several hours of discussion and showing of the plasma technology, and it's open to newcomers and old-timers with the Keshe teachings. And let me see what else that's available. And we have also the Knowledge Seekers workshop coming up on Thursday. That will be July 11th. And that should start at the usual 9 a.m. Central European Summer Time. I'm sure Mr. Keshe will continue the teachings and have lots of interesting things to say. Okay, great workshop. Thank you, everyone. And
how about the silent lovers? Please do dance and clap.
Yes, indeed. We like to end with some clapping and dancing. And our usual.
Enjoy.
Yes, thank you, Sweater. Our usual flight enhancement spaceship unit music version. And once again, thank you, everybody, for attending. And see you next time. Bye for now.